Hello. So, I just realized there's an issue with the jumps. So, I'll show you what I mean. These enemies are just jumping, and they're able to remain in the air. And I'm pretty sure if I jump above them, if I don't die, that they'll just fly towards me. So, yeah, see that guy jumped in the air? So, let's go into scripts, entities, enemy entity. I took a look at this earlier, and I think we can fix this by getting rid of that test and overwriting the onCollision enter 2D. And then collision 2D. Make sure we run the old one, or the base one. And then if it's a map object, we want to test if it's below us and we just hit it. And okay, so the parent of all of the map objects is the map. So it's called map. So we gotta test first if it's null. And then we need the name of it is map, and let's say the position y is less than our position y. Then jumping is false. So we should probably add that to the player. So I think if you time it right, you can jump in the air. Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, I guess it's saved. Yeah. So copy that and put it in here, and then we'll just take that out. change. To 2D. Okay. Oh. So I guess if you start, you can jump in the air. But these guys are now gonna jump. Oh. Ooh, there might be some issues with the collision there. Like... okay, so... Yep. Well... it's better at least. Okay, I'm gonna try to make some sprites. So... I'm not the best artist, but I'll try to do some uniform. Images that I'm going to use for sprites and weapons. So I have one melee weapon, one ranged weapon, to show how one way you could get it going. So I only have it going to the right, my animations, because I can flip them some way or another. And I don't have the right arm on them, because I'm going to control that animating with code, and then we can put stuff like a bat and a gun in the arm. Where's that? Arm. And that will work no matter what the player is doing. And that way we can use the physics of the collider on the melee weapon for hit detection, and then like once the melee weapon touches something, it'll cause a trigger, just like when you run into someone. So I guess starting off, when you import a sprite, it's just a texture, so you just put, this is a PNG file, you give it texture type sprite. If it's just one image and it's not a animating image, then you just put it at single. And an example of using it, you don't have to put it on a material and then on a quad. You just throw the sprite right in there. So to show an example of it, I'm going to just drag in one of these. So this platform, I'm just going to resize it so it's a bit bigger. I'm going to replace my platforms with this thing. So I'm going to drag it into map. What else is these have box colliders and rigid bodies. I'm going to copy the rigid body. So copy component. I'm going to go to this sprite. I'm going to paste a new rigid body. And then I'm going to go to components, 2D, put a polygon collider, and as you can see it's got a collider now based off of the sprite. So now what I'm going to do is make a few of these. So I'm going to remove these platforms and work with this platform. So let's make that a bit bigger. Let's duplicate it. That's kind of the layout we had. These are a bit large, and I think I'm going to use this other one that I was going to possibly go over how you would make someone move along the normal, or move along the tangent of what he's walking on, like Sonic. But we'll see if we get to that. So I made something that would look kind of like a curvy edge. You could run up. Again, I'm going to paste new component and then add polygon collider. Then I'm going to duplicate this guy. Then I'm going to invert it. There we go. So let's put that there, that there. I'm going to duplicate this. Oh, I'm going to put this in the map. And maybe make this a little bigger. Let's see how that looks. So now you won't slide up things. You have to jump up them. To slide down because of gravity. Ooh, it's not letting me jump. That new thing I added, I bet the center of this is right there. And just for the sake of not having to open that up and calculate that somehow, why don't we just go to platform, pivot at the bottom right. So I'm re-adding these so it calculates it over again because it was based on the different spot. Now that it's in that spot, I'll give it a try. Yep. Alright, so the origin of those objects is their pivot. Whoa. What? Okay. I just wanted to see there. See how they're all working off of these new colliders based off of the picture. So now we should get into animating. So I have an idle animation for this little dude that I drew up. And what you do instead of a single sprite, you would do a multiple. Then you can click Sprite Editor, and it looks like it's sliced for me, but if not, you would go to Grid, and you could put the pixel size if you have it the same size about, and then slice it, and you would do that, hit Apply. Now what this does is it gives you a bunch of sub pictures without actually making new pictures. So what I'm going to do now is open up the animation window. I'm just going to dock that there. And I'm going to, let's see, I think I need animations, so I'm going to create a new folder called animations. I'm going to create an animation. Maybe it's not animation. Maybe it's animator. One sec. We might need this later. Might be the same for the enemy, so, oh, maybe not. Well, I'll keep it to player for now. And then this would need its own window too. Yeah. Alright, put an animation. I'm going to take my enemy idle, put it in there. Maybe change the size a bit, or yeah, I'll leave it alone. Yeah. So this has, aside from these rendering things, a collider and player entity. So I'm going to copy that. This is going to be the new player entity. Rigid body. Box collider. Why don't we try adding a new box collider there. It'll be that size. And then what else am I missing? I think that's it. So I'm gonna delete this one. And player entity, I'm gonna put in game manager. Might as well put the main camera in there too. I'm not sure if that's playing, so I'm gonna take a look at that. Doesn't look like it. Also, that is awfully small. Alright. Okay. Maybe if I shrink that down, it'll make a little more sense. Yeah, that's probably good. It's still rather small. I wonder if I just make it 3. Okay. So he's armless and everything. We should add a animation. Then we drag animations into it. Or maybe animator. Okay, so create new animation. I'm not sure why this is working now. Maybe it's because I have it selected. Yeah, that's probably it. So I'm gonna name this player idle. And that's gonna have these guys. Ah, I see. It's got a little picture of it. Alright, how do I test that? So that should be, that might be better. It's not falling, that's weird. I'm thinking the actual sprite rendering needs to be in its own object. So I'm going to create an empty object. This is going to be, I'm going to rename player entity to sprite. I'm going to drag that in my new game object. I'm going to rename the game object player entity. I'm going to drag that into game manager. What I'm going to do is take the rigid body I can't add it. One sec. I'm going to add this. That rigid body isn't looking right, so I'm going to remove it. Go into here, copy that one, paste that one, then I'm going to remove it from here. I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to take the player entity script off that, put it in there. Alright. Okay, so that box is a little small. Let's make that bigger. Maybe off-center it a little. Let's see how that works. I think once we have it tilting, these curves will change things. Okay, so he's using player entity 1. I don't see any triggers. Why don't we just use the one that it's using? Get rid of the 1. Alright. Sprite is using player entity animator. And we can have some triggers. So it's going to start with idle. We got to create some more animations. So click this guy. We're going to record. Oh. New clip. Okay, that's what I was looking for. So, player running. Okay, player idle is still default, so if I hit play, it doesn't look like he's playing. Always animate, animation, player idle. Oh, I shouldn't have removed that. Okay, so I'm just going to drag that back in. Alright, so player idle. Still isn't doing anything. Let's make that 3. That's just messing with the time of it. 3 is probably pretty good for that one. Alright, so I'm going to go to player running. And I'm going to go into running. Okay, so we gotta do that again. So multiple sprite editor, grid, so that's the size I'm using. Slice, apply. Now I can select them, and let's try 3 or 2. So I can save that. No. They have this new thing called triggers in here, so I'm going to try that. No. I think I'm going to do it any state. So from any state, it's going to transition to player running, on trigger running. And then running, I think it automatically is looping, so okay. Alright, we have a trigger running. So let's go into our scripts finally. I'm going to go open up entity and player entity. So we have this left-right jump. Let's set a bunch of flags. So this is only going to be on enemy and player. So I'll just double it. If I put it on entity, then our power-ups and everything, once we make those, we'll have them as well. Some of them could be on it. Maybe the searching for the animator or something. Anyway, so we need some flags for running. Right or left. So right is true. I guess all I really have is running and idle. We'll add more when there's animations for, well, we're not going to have animations. We're going to do encode for slashing. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's get this first. So input update, animation update. And I'm going to make that here. If right and transform scale, local scale, x is greater than 0. Let's see, less than 0. Then we want to flip it. So transform local if it wants to stop freezing on me. Okay, scale. think that'll do it. Running, else. Might as well get the animating object. Sprite, is there a sprite? Okay. In the awake, we're gonna set sprite. I'm going to find the child under the sprite name, and then get the game object, and then get the component sprite. Now, if it's running, sprite dot, is there a trigger? Oh, we don't want sprite. Yeah, so instead of getting the sprite component, we're just gonna get the game object. Then down here, this game object is gonna have an animator. Alright. Maybe we need get the component. It's not liking that. Let's see if there's a trigger. Okay, so trigger ID. Or name. Okay. What was it? It was trigger running. Else trigger idle. And we're gonna make something called trigger idle. From any state, it's going to go to idle. The condition that trigger idle. Okay, so yeah, that didn't look right. Okay, so I'm just gonna do it should or let's see. There's an or involved in this if it's the other way. If we're not right, and transform local scale x is greater than 0. Probably have to wrap those. Sprite.animation state current state info. Oh, I think I have to get the hash. Or we'll see if it repeats. If it's already on that animation, I might trigger it again. Let's try to get this sprite working first. Okay. There's no errors. Why are there two? I could be doing it over and over again. Oh, running is never set. There's that. Okay, so right and left, let's get that working. Right equals false. Right equals true. Running equals true. Running equals true. And oh, I see. I forgot that we did that. I feel like with a jump. Okay, so if jumping, then running equals false. If rigid body 2D dot velocity x, let's see, the absolute then we're gonna set running to false. Yeah. Let's see how that works. So running, we got right and left. That's kind of working. If I go into the sprite for running, let's see what happens if I double that. So is that working? That might be working. I'm not sure. It's running the animation, so I'm going to make that smaller. Whoa. I think when the entities create those rubbles, rubble.transform.parent should equal the game manager instance dot transform dot get child map find child. That might change that for rubble. Just fix that again. I think they're jumping on it. Oh. Anyway, so we got animating. Might as well get that arm thing working. So we have only one arm on this dude. How about see if I go to sprites, player right arm. Let's do a custom. See how that works. So I'm going to add a oh, was I using that? We're going to make that player idle, because I was using the enemy one. Okay, that's the arm. Player idle. Player idle. Player running. tweak that again. Okay, I just want to take a peek for 1 sec. That might make the transition a bit faster. What? So it tells me calling that all the time isn't helping. Okay, so right before we set running to true, we're going to make some checks. So if not running, then we're going to set the trigger to running. I'm going to add that to this one. And the idle I'm going to put it in these. So if running, then run the idle. I'm going to do that here too. I'm going to remove that. You kind of did it that time. That really low number. And here, running is going to be much faster. Okay. So jumping could do that, but this check could be an else to these. So if you're not pressing any keys, yeah. Oh. I could add this here for if not jumping. And then I might not need to make this check. I'll keep that check there though. me get that arm on there. So the sprite, I'm going to go into sprites, and play right arm. 2.75. Good. That looks more like it. Right arm is going to be at Z3. Okay, so we have an arm there, and I want to pin this thing to it. So bat and gun. So bat. give that a polygon collider. Oh, it needs to be the same as this. 4555. Okay, so we'll put that in here. I'm gonna add that guy. Wow. I don't think he's gonna need that. Oh, cool. So if I put it at 000, it goes on there. Okay. I'll have to add the rest of this in a bit. Alright, let's make it so the enemies also have animations. So right now they're pretty much just like the player, but it'll look a little better. So let's go to our prefabs, weapon, or enemy. Let's copy sprite out of that one, duplicate, put it in there. Let's get rid of the box collider, the mesh renderer, and the quad. Also, let's zero it out. So 000, and the sprite should be at 000. That'll just position it right. Then I'm going to go to the player entity. I'm going to copy this and paste it. Looks a little off. Okay. So this was moved a little. Okay, 0.13.049. There. So this sprite is not going to be player entity. We're going to make another one. There. Enemy entity. Let's save a enemy idle. What was the other one? 10. No. 3 and 10. Oh, I guess we didn't change that, did we? So, transition, transition. Then trigger running. Trigger idle. Okay, that should be set up just like the player now. I'm gonna apply and then remove this. Then I'm gonna go in and change the scripts. So we have player entity, which has animator running and right. And it sets that at the beginning. So that's left. And then this is right. Add that in there. And then we're going to have to add this animation update, which is called... So... Might be all of that. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see how it looks. Ah. uh. Hmm. So entity. This creates this rubble. I'm gonna add a little. Yeah. I'm gonna add something to change how it looks, so it's not just white. So if I think this will fix it. Okay, so we covered a lot. I think what I want to get in another video would be the weapons, aiming the range weapons, doing something with the arm that's just sort of down right now. And then to get it so the camera moves when you reach the edge of the screen. That way you can make a larger map and maybe place enemies instead of just generating them. That way you got like a big platformer map and then moving around the map. And you could probably do respawning with lives and stuff. I'll get to it in another video. I did this one in multiple parts, especially because of the drawing, which I don't think I have the best practice on making animations and stuff, so that took a lot longer than I thought. I'll try to do the next video without too many breaks. This Unity3d stuff is rather new. The concepts are quite old though, so yeah. I didn't get a request for this one, I just did this video. I kind of wanted to learn the 2D aspects of Unity. I hear they're going to add a lot more cool stuff in Unity 5. But, well, hopefully this helps someone. I still plan on making another video for it, so maybe at that point I'll have something more interesting. Yeah.